my eyes, I can see people crying, people dying, people need to be loved. People moving up and down through the busy streets downtown. Some are begging, some are buying, some are crying. Keep the pressure down. And there stood before me someone preaching, let us change this world from its shames and distress. Let us build the unity to save this world and its falling race. Keep the pressure down. Whoa, you gotta keep it down. And there stood before me someone preaching, let us change this world from its shames and distress. Let us build a unity to save this world and its falling race. You gotta keep the pressure down. Whoa, you gotta keep it down, down. Ooh. go astray. Oh Lord, hear my humble cry.
Greetings. Yes, greetings. We're there with you, things and times. Yeah, the time. The time all me. But we're there with you. Give thanks to have this opportunity in life. You understand me? Yes, we're there with you. We want to bring some change or something. We want to bring some conversation about Paul. We want to bring some scripture conversation, Acts, and more Acts. Because we want to try to make our people them who very stiff with this understand, this thinking that Christianity are that umbrella thing was always in Africa. And some of them supposed to say, well, that which we understand, what's the emphasis or the focus is or should have been. And to me, that be acceptable. But then to brandish the continent with it, and we were the children of the slaves, not saying that we can't come out and know something. It's some kind of weird thing. And then because them go somewhere and them see a cross, them just say, them see a symbol of that which is a cross, them turn around and say the same thing the Europeans them a say. You know? So I want to put some light, shed some light. But you know, say me there upon the infrastructure, so but this is an argumentative zone that keeps us away from the best of ourselves. And you just get bogged down and bogged down and bogged down and bogged down. But we are still with February. We are still with some conversations in relation to racism and that ugliness of it. I want to bring some clips to to your listening ears so that people can hear something and verify how we were seen as savages so many years ago. So many centuries, you know what I mean, from the time, because these people, them wicked, them terrible. Huh? This day, in 1884, which is 136 years ago, you see? And they want we to forget, they want we to forget that them all we, you see? But this day in 1884, the British, the French, the Germans, the Europeans made a cake of the continent, and them sit down, and the Italians, all of them, and them look upon Africa and say, here what, this is what we're going to have, and so forth. Yeah, this day, you understand? I'm going to bring some more this day too, but this is what happened. This is what did happen during that period of time with these people. Yes, I'll fix this thing here once and for all, So, I am saying that what the FBI send them crew? What's going on? I'm saying that situation, we need to look at that and recognize that and see that it's been a long time that we're there upon this trying to get ourselves back home, trying to get recognition, and trying to understand what these Caucasians, these Europeans have done and why are they still there. You see? And it's easy just to say resources, but they don't want us to be free people. And then this church thing, this have a lot to do with how we allow them to keep us in this mental bondage, because when it finishes, it's mental bondage. No matter how you look at it and twist it and turn it. If a people are, let's deal with the individual. If an individual don't think that them can salvage something and give thoughts for themselves, there's someone either seducing them or they're a student of something, some organization or some bodies, And that makes life difficult because with people saying, are using the word of supremacy and everything else, you start from a position where you're either fascinated by the said people who are your conquerors or show themselves to be that. And through the colonial dictation, we still feel that for some reason that we owe them something. But they always make us feel that we do owe them something. And then we think that we're working for freedom, that we're working towards emancipation, liberation, and so on. But we don't understand what that means. If we're in a conversation, we say, well, that means that we need to be free. And that's not it. We need to walk away from these people. We have too much dependency on them. Once you have dependency, you can never be free. And we Caribbean people, we need to have a good look at Cuba. And don't let some idiot come tell you that you look at Brownings. Let's have a look at Cuba and examine Cuba. I don't examine communism, none of all of that crap. Just have a look at Cuba. Examine Cuba. Seriously. And then you see that we made some serious mistakes in our life in 136 years. Yeah. Is it 136? Yeah, I'm try to do some. Yeah, man, 136 years. And then we fought for this independence from 1960, where some of the islands, them, if not all of them, between 1960 and 1969 gained independence. 76 years. Trying to study and trying to get to a level that someone else was dictating. Because remember, we're trying to claim independence. And that independence was from the same people that captured us. And on the continent, the same saga was used. Them had to prove to their capturers that they were credible. So they had to apply for independence. And those who pass gain some form of independence. You see that word there now? Some form of independence. And then people start celebrating the fact that they're independent and true to the word. But it wasn't so. Weren't so. I want to listen to some of these clips, because we have to also test out the new Google contracts and see if we're breaching them by broadcasting certain things. You understand? There's a new regulation, so we'll test it in this week here to see if we're falling line. You know what I mean? Because we don't want to break the people them rules and then things start going awry. But I want you to listen good. Seriously.
Egyptian government and the Sudan, marriages, such as you, sir, I imagine, Mr. Wentworth Day, and you were, in fact, an advisor to the Egyptian government and the Sudan, so you know what you're talking about.
Well, I've been there and seen them in their own home surroundings. And as a parliamentary candidate, I've been into a good many working-class houses.
Over here?
Where there have been, oh yes, indeed, where there have been many mixed marriages, and I've seen the children. And my view is this, that no first-class nation can afford to produce a race of mongrels. And that is what we're doing. Sooner or later, that's going to come back on the children. Those children are unfair hostages to the future. It's unfair on the children, it's unfair on the nation. It's one of the reasons why France is a third-class nation today. Too much mixed blood. Look at the other angle. The black man, and I refuse this humbug of talking about the colored man, he's black and we're white, has a different set of standards, values, morals, and principles. In many cases, their grandfathers were eating each other. Well, the lion doesn't change his spots in all that time. But look at it this way. They come over here, they cause housing troubles, employment troubles. Ask any landlord of working-class property. Where they go in, the houses become cesspits of dirt.
Now, this is not inevitable.
Very often. If a black man makes a lot of money, what do you find? Again, a lack of taste. He's flashy. He's very often arrogant.
Well, to go back to mixed marriages, which is the specific subject talking about, are you implying that a half-caste is in any way mentally deficient?
Definitely.
But there's nothing to prove this at all.
That unfortunate child is born with an inferiority complex. If it isn't born with it, it grows up with it.
You can't possibly say that it's born with an inferiority complex. That's something that we instill into it later.
We may instill it, and also the pure black people may instill it themselves, because they have an instinctive contempt, you know, for what they call white trash.
But if conditions were different, there was not the social prejudice, such as you have, and there were not the practical difficulties, then if two people were in love, wouldn't you recommend them to get married?
Love is a very curious thing. It depends on how you define it. I think a lot of these mixed marriages are caused purely by downright sex or sloppy sentimentality.
Have you got a daughter yourself?
I have a daughter who is young, charming, intelligent, with taste and discrimination.
Well, what would you feel if she said that she was going to marry a colored man?
I should strongly advise her against it. I should give her all the practical reasons why not. I should ask her if she wanted to wake up in the morning and see a coffee-colored little imp on the pillow beside her, calling her mummy. If she did marry him, I should be bitterly disappointed.
Well, I couldn't disagree with you more, but at least you do say what you really feel. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That one, yeah, killer.
see, in the 1930s, it was an established fact that the regal class of Negro nomads exiled from the kingdom of Judah, that they resided in Songhai, in Mali, in Ghana, in Kenem, in Bornu, in the empire, and within the Onadu forest of Dahomey south of Timbuktu. Communities complete with Aramaic Torah scrolls.
Another area in Africa you have something big happening is in Nigeria. You have the Igbo people, or Igbo, pronounced either way. There's 40 million of them. There's been books written about it from scholars in Nigeria, from scholars from the Jewish people. And where it gets interesting is, in America, there was a slave trade. And a lot of the slaves, a very high percentage of them, came from Western Nigerian ports. And in America today, you see a very large movement of African Americans who say that they're the real chosen people, that they're the children of Israel, they're the Judeans. You know, so what are they just trying to create an identity for themselves because they were slaves, or is there really something here? And the answer is, most likely there is something there. And most likely, maybe that they were the original Israelites, and maybe that the Jewish people today, who are white, Caucasian people, came in a little bit later on.
I want to discuss a little bit of sensitive history. And if I go to sensitive history, well, then I must quote sources that say it rather than that I say it. This is a fascinating book, and the web pages are there. You can check it out. Facts are facts. This is a book that was written by a Jewish man. And he confronted the thinking of many of the high-placed individuals of the world. This is interesting stuff. In this book, Benjamin H. Friedman, a Jewish man, writes about the Jews and reveals an interesting history. He states that the present Jews in Palestine are not the true descendants of the Judeans, but rather descendants of the Khazars.
You see, Samson tore a lion apart as he would a young goat. And as a Nazarite, he wore 7 dreadlocks. He was mahogany in body color, just like Malcolm X. And his visage was blacker than coal. He was a Negro. Lamentations 4, 7, and 8. And this is really hard for people to see in Scripture, because predominantly it has been the Caucasians that have been in charge of the Scriptures, right? For millennia. Lamentations 5:10. Our skin was black like an oven. Job 30 verse 30. My skin is black upon me and my bones are burned with heat. Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28 verse 68. And Yahweh shall bring you into Mitzrayim, Egypt again with ships. And the way of which I said to you, you shall see it no more again. And there you shall be sold to your enemies for slaves and female slaves, and no man shall buy you. And that is what happened to the regal class of the house of Judah.
You see that? The ancient Israelites are those people that were taken into slavery through Atlantic slave trade and scattered through all nations of the world.
Right. That for 400 years, preachers have taught what they've been trained to teach and never teaching people who they are. Looking right in the book that's talking about us, but not knowing that it's talking about us.
Hi, shalom, shalom from Israel. This is Ola, the daughter of Jethro. And I just heard that you black people that was stolen from Africa to America, that you don't know who you are. But you are the children of Yahweh, the children of Israel. And I'm telling you, you have to come back to your homeland, here to Zion, to Jerusalem, because us the Gentiles, we do need you.
And now you have people in Africa saying that they're the real people of Israel. It can't be ruled out at all. You know they were sold into slavery. We know now that they're fulfilling prophecies by saying, we're coming back.
Who is it that's acting like they're supposed to be God's people? Now, because theologians have brought out the point that there's neither Greek nor Jew, you think it's not important to know who is the real Jews. Because they say once we start talking about who the real people are, they'll start saying it don't matter. See, the whole point of this country is to be dismissive when it comes to truth.
Why? Ask the bloody question. Why are they only teaching you the history of slavery as far back as the 16th and the 17th century? Why are they only going that far back? They don't want you to go farther back than that, because then you'll actually find out the truth. But from the 16th and 17th century, we'll teach you about slavery. You've got to go further back, and you've got to understand and question, why do they do this throughout the whole of America, in all the public schools? Why do they only go back as far as the 16th and 17th century to talk about slavery? We've got to go further back than that.
So the genetic testing actually proved to the doubters what you and your forefathers have been saying for generations. That must be exciting news.
It is.
I'll be honest, I hadn't heard of the Lemba. I knew very little about it. But having spent time making the journey from Jerusalem down through Zimbabwe, having spent time here at this festival, seeing what your people are all about, I can only sum it up in one word, and it's shalom.
Shalom.
You see, it's just like Al-Qaeda today. Or is it ISIS? Or is it ISIL? Or is it IS? I mean, right? Let's just change the name as much as possible to throw you all off so you really don't know what's going on. Let's keep switching the identity to hide the people. Why don't we just keep renaming you? Are you Negro? Oh, no, you're not Negro. No, you're colored. No, you're not colored. You're African American. And this is what they name you. The slavers name you this.
As we begin to dissect, because I want to do it in the Bible, so you know I'm not making up nothing, and I'm not no Black Panther, and I'm not no black activist either. I'm a Hebrew that found out that this book is my culture. Nobody wants to deal with this because, you know, let's just wrap Christianity up in a pretty bow and let's just go on to heaven. And no, we're going to get rid of these lies that's been told. That's why our people are messed up, because won't nobody tell them the truth. And most of what you heard preached is what has been sanctioned by the ADL. In other words, what they allowing preachers to preach, as long as they keep in line with the lie that these are God's chosen people. That's why you see people like John Hagee and Joel Osteen and all these people just stand with Israel and stand with Israel, stand with Israel. Nobody's talking about, now how is these people who's supposed to be researchers not research that part? But do you know why they don't want to talk about that they not the real people? Because you're going to ask the question, if they not it, then who is?
Look, black is beautiful, black is excellent. Black is pain, black is joy, black is evident. Working twice as hard as the people you know you're better than, cause you need to do double what they do so you can level them. Black is so much deeper than just African American. Our heritage been severed, you never got to experiment with family trees. Cause they teach you out famine and greed. Show you pictures of our family on their knees. Tell us we used to be barbaric, we had actual queens. Black is watching child soldiers getting killed by other children, feeling sick so quick, this could have happened to me. Mummy watching, telling stories about your dad and your niece. Listen, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Kid dies, the blacker the killer, the sweeter the news. And if he's white, you give him a chance, he's ill and confused. If he's black, he's probably armed, you see him and shoot. Look, black is growing up around the barbershop. Mummy says stay away from trouble, you're in yard a lot. Studying for ages, appreciating the chance you got. Cause black is in your blood and you ain't even got the heart to stop. Black is stepping in for your brothers because your father's gone. Standing by your children when you haven't proven karma wrong. Black is doing all of the above, then going corner shop. Trying to help a lady cross the road to have her walking off. Black is growing up around your family and making it. Being forced to leave the place you love because there's hate in it. People say you're faking it, never stay for changing it. But black is being jealous, you'd be dead if you had stayed in it. Black is struggling to find your history and tracing it. You don't know the truth about your race cause they're erasing it. Black has got a really sour flavor, here's a taste of it. But black is all I know, there ain't a thing that I would change in it. Look, black isn't a single colour, man, there's shades to it. Her hair's straight and thick, but mine's got waves in it. Black is not divisive, they've been lying and I'm hating it. Black has never been a competition, we're all making it. Black is deadly. Black is when you're freezing in your home and you can't get sleep, but never feeling empty cause you got 20 cousins in your country living stress-free, walking for their water daughter wrapped inside a bed sheet. Black is distant, it's representing countries that never even existed while your grandmother was living. Black is my Ghanaian brother reading into scriptures, doing research on his lineage, finding out that he's Egyptian. Black is people naming your countries and what they trade most. Coast of Ivory, Gold Coast and the Grain Coast. But most importantly, to show how deep all of this pain goes, West Africa, Benin, they call the Slave Coast. Black is so confusing, cause the culture, they're in love with it. Take our features when they want and have their fun with it. Never seem to help with all the things you know will come with it. Loud in our laughter, silent in our suffering. Black is being strong inside the face of defeat. Poverty made me a beast, I battled the law in the streets. We all struggle, but your struggle ain't a struggle like me. Well, how could it be when your people gave us the odds that we beat? I mean, bloody hell, what about our brothers that are stuck in jail that couldn't bust the bell? They held a burden, gotta live with it. Black is being guilty until proven that you're innocent. Black is saying free all of my people stuck inside them prison cells. Think it's funny we ain't got nothing to say to them. Unconditional love is strange to them, it's amazing. Black has really got the sweetest flavour, here's a taste of it. But black is all I know, there ain't a thing that I would change in it. It is racist, whether or not it feels racist. The truth is, our prime ministers are real racist. They say, you should be grateful we're the least racist. I say the least racist is still racist. And if somebody hasn't said it, equality's a right, it doesn't deserve credit. Now if you don't want to get it, then you're never gonna get how the news treats Kate versus how they treated Meghan. Rest in peace, Jack Merritt, you're my brother in arms. There's tears in our eyes and love in our hearts. We never had the same background, culture, colour or past, but you devoted your life to giving others a chance. And for that, I'm so taken aback, because he gave us all a voice. I have to say it for Jack. As a young black man that's seen paper and crack, giving tougher sentences, it's just paper and cracks. All he would want is unity, funding for communities, equal opportunities, people under scrutiny, no more immunity, way less hatred, more conservation, less deforestation. We want rehabilitation, now that would be amazing. But Grenfell victims still need accommodation, and we still need support for the Windrush generation, reparations for the time our people spent on plantations. I'm done.
Marcus Garvey. Yes, Marcus Garvey. Things that Marcus Garvey said, it's really happening. Words that Marcus Garvey said, it's now fulfilling. Children are dying of hunger. Some don't even live anywhere. They've got no place to rest. Oh Marcus, your words are fulfilling. Yes. Oh Marcus, the greatest promise. Oh Marcus Garvey. Yes, Marcus Garvey. Things that Marcus Garvey said, it's really happening. Words that Marcus Garvey said, it's now fulfilling. Children are dying of hunger. Some don't even live anywhere. They've got no place to rest. Whoa, yeah. Oh Marcus, yeah. Oh Marcus, your words are fulfilling. Oh Marcus, the greatest promise.
Yeah, man, things and times. Yeah, we're there on the top of the things, man. See what I mean? Yes.
Badness not pay, no.
Need some more plugs on here.
Badness not pay, no. Hey, Jude, man. Badness not pay. Attitude, man. Hear what I say. You get up every day, you chop it with your gun. Soon one day, your fun not got done. Going around making disturbance, going around giving out the jet bad name. Hey, youth man, I better you cool. Attitude man, me know you no fool. From the prisons to the mark to the cemetery, that's how I know bad man end up, you see. Going around making disturbance, going around giving out the jet bad name. Now youth man, badness no pay.
Leroy Dan Smart. Yeah, tear young girls' heart apart. Yeah, culturally.
What I say. Hey, what I say. No. Hey, what I say. Yeah. Whoa.
Things and times this, you know.
To the cemetery, that's how I know bad man end up, you see. Going around making disturbance, going around giving out the jet bad name. Hey youth man, badness no pay. Attitude man, hear what I say. get up every day, you chop it with your gun. Soon one day, your fun now got done. Going around making disturbance, going around giving at the jet bad name.
Murderer!
Yeah. If I should age any other girl and forgive her, you I will never forget. You do me the same thing over and over, and then you say you're looking another man. But you got no pride, you got no mind, but you got no shame and ambition. If I should hate any other girl and forgive her, you I will never forget. You do me the same thing over and over, and then you say you're looking another man. But you got no pride, you got no mind, but you got no shame and ambition. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Oh. But you got no pride, you got no mind, but you got no shame and ambition. If I should hate any other girl and forgive her, you I will never forget. You do me the same thing over and over, and then you say you're looking another man. You're looking another man.
Read him up.
Ethiopia, the land where I and I want to go. Ethiopia, the land where I and I want to know. Yeah. Jah, He is mighty in battle. Jah, He will smite you if you don't do things right. Yeah. They say you're coming from Ethiopia to Jamaica. They say you're coming to let us all know Jehovah. Yeah. Jah is mighty. Jah is strong. Yeah. Let us all know Selassie. Let us all know the man that is mighty, Selassie. Yeah, my brother. Oh. Jah is mighty. Yeah. Jah is strong. Oh.
Rhythm up.
Mother ass. Ooh yeah. Ooh yeah. Whoa. I hear that you going away. I wish you good luck. I wish you goodbye. Oh yeah. I hear that you going to stay. I wish you good luck. I wish you goodbye. Bye bye. But there is one thing you don't know. You don't know how I love you so. My darling, please don't go. My darling, please don't go. I hear that you going away. I wish you good luck. I wish you goodbye. Oh yeah. I hear that you going to stay. I wish you good luck. I wish you goodbye. Bye bye. But there is one thing I just can't understand. You are giving your love to another man. My darling, please don't go. 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 Ooh yeah. Ooh, oh. But there is one thing you don't know. You don't know how I love you so. I hear that you going away. I wish you good luck, I wish you goodbye, oh yeah. I wish you good luck, I wish you goodbye, I wish you good luck.
Read him up!
Mother. Babylon don't like dreadlocks. Babylon pressure in dreadlocks. Babylon don't like dreadlocks. Babylon don't like dreadlocks. I just don't know why. Ooh, yeah. Babylon don't like dreadlocks. Babylon don't like dreadlocks. But dreadlock must
Read him up!
Babylon don't like dreadlocks. Babylon pressure in dreadlocks. Babylon don't like dreadlocks. Babylon don't like dreadlocks. I just don't know why. Ooh, yeah. Babylon don't like dreadlocks. Babylon don't like dreadlocks.
Now we come to the payoff. Now we come to the payoff.
This one. Oh yeah. Dreadlocks don't deal with folly. Dread only smoking Cali. Dreadlock don't deal with war.
And the big bag sound with him called Tipper Town, and I got to make it be known. We got the one
Just
that radical for chipping and the Black Roses massive.
Babylon don't like dreadlocks. Babylon pressure in dreadlocks. Babylon a pressure dreadlocks. Babylon a pressure dreadlocks. I just don't know why. Babylon don't like dreadlocks. Just give praises unto Jah and show Babylon dread can suffer. Cause Jah is the Almighty God. Babylon don't like dreadlocks. Ooh yeah. Babylon don't like dreadlocks. So no. Just give praises unto Jah and show Babylon dread can suffer. Cause Jah is the Almighty God. Babylon a pressure dreadlocks. Babylon a pressure dreadlocks.
Yeah, man, of the roots once again. Rockers reggae music. once again, Rockers Reggae Music.
Be a badness. 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 Be a badness.
Hi, my name's Early B, and I want to ask the nation one thing. I want to ask the Africans and the Indians if they know the origination, if they know the country they come from. Because Africans come from Africa, and Indians come from India. Do it, y'all. Hey, 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 come and say Lord. Hey, I'm and say woo. Hey. Come and say back in the time just before Christ. Said that was the time where they call BC. But since Christ did me say them call it AD. And back in the era 1493, Columbus carry come to the Caribbean Sea. We come see the Indians under slavery. And them die out, them couldn't work like we. But even if a 1993, say all black people say they must have fee free. Cause Uncle Two Nation never face slavery. The Indians are who black like me. The Indians, them have fee with a potty. Them a go wait for mo what Mugandi. The Africans them don't a put Bustamante. Them a wait for Papa Marcus Garvey. Cause when we left Jamaica, we a go stop a Guyana. A little after that we a go stop America. Cause bubble after that we gonna Australia. We stop a England for me other brother. And then we bubble in Africa. Hail German, cause this a Africa, Africa, you must be free. Cause I am really be, my age of 23. Me height of 5'3", me weigh 123. So judge liquor me under slavery. Say if time come that I don't get free, me I go drop down to 43. Cause me say even if I 1993, say all black people say them must have free. And me say Lord, hey, come me say woo, tell them boss. Come me say back in the time just before Christ born. Say that is the time when pure peace used to go on. But since Columbus come, me say that pure war and storm. But even if I 1993, say all black people say them must have free. And all Indians free from a slavery. Cause Uncle Two Nation never face slavery. The Indians are who black like me. Cause me say even if I 1993, say all black people say them must have free. Cause the Indians them a go wait a putty. Them a go wait for mo what Mugandi. And the Africans don't a put Bustamante. Now live till we see Papa Garvey. Cause me say back before Christ when.
Yes. Brother called Early Bay. Yeah, man. Yes, my people. So we'll give you something there to exercise your thoughts on. I know say that the one that give you the history of the Judah, the tribe, is one African and all the others are Caucasians. Yes. You see? So we don't have to Google. But I can tell you down near Houston, in the British Library, you'll find those texts. And up there, Cambridge, you'll find many volumes, many books written by Caucasians about what they saw on arrival on the continent of Africa. Also, with the communication, the consultation that they have had with our foreparents, and a lot of manuscripts that they took, whether they were given or not, that they took. So these things will dispel this nonsense that our ancestors, our people didn't write. And then when we say that now, we follow these people, them that deal with the house of consciousness and all these things. You understand? Kemet wrote. You understand? Yes. The Greeks got so much learning from there. And so much literature, part of their studies from there. And if we didn't write, what kind of institutions we had across the continent, which give us Shanghai and Timbuktu as two of the biggest, largest university precinct on the continent. Because we have many. It's just that there would be the two most famous, most prominent, and that's due to the Muslim journeys of their literature, and many people them coming from the east into that area to learn. Not them warmongers, you know. You see? So we had literature. They just didn't want us to realize that or understand that. Because the whole thing about many of them was to deny the generations to come of the excellence that we have accomplished, so that we were put backwards. We were stagnated and put on pause. And that's what they have accomplished. Anyone who wants to deny that they're not real. They've accomplished it. We're not talking about the fact that we can go, that our brothers and sisters them can go across Europe, as far up is Russia, and learn. No, it's not the learning. It's not filtering out education across the globe. It's what we do with ourselves at home and make ourselves truly independent, having a sovereign nation, and restore our identity and our dignity, you understand, among the human race. And we'll be denied that by the Caucasian, them, the Europeans. See? That's the thing. So that's why we may say, again, that we need to look at why we give up Menelik, the line of Judah, for King James, and Menelik for Saul Paul. You understand? And then those of you who really try to understand what me I say about them youth there in Harlem that shout out and scream out that, and all the others that them are Hebrew, this, that, and the other. Huh? And all of a sudden all these things come up. And it's costuming. And then the elders that was around Dr. Ben and Henry Clark and others are not pulling their cloak and say, hold on. You understand? They're not doing that. And if they are, maybe the youth them show them, say they don't want to hear nothing. So then just go along with the youth them and get some fame before them pass. Earn the money. Something happens there. You see? Because you must remember, it's in Ethiopia, the line of Judah. You see? And nobody just come by and make that something up. We didn't just bar it and say, to Rasta now that feel good in me, we are tribe of Judah, lion of the tribe of Judah, elect of God, ever living God, earth right. No, nothing go so. A real thing. So some people come and this time they want to dispel the thing, because we have moved from it and follow the images. And the images got us. Along with the British teaching, theological education again. See? And it took us years before anybody go into Abyssinia. Years. You understand? And it's all about the research and how them projected Africa and the boundaries, the limits, and how we were limited. And what type of education we received among our own. Among our own. And even then, we had class education. We had the poor man education, and we had the first class education. And if we family then have that money to cut it with what them call the first class education, then no entry. Simple. No matter how good any of us were in passing them 11 plus, we weren't allowed the privilege to go to them schools that are educated at that high level with abundance of resources. See? And that's on the islands. That's how our people them treated us. That's how they worked. Because the people them separate, isolate things, and had division again. You understand? Not the working class, the ones that them depict a handful of people that they allowed into their sector. And most times they were the people them that was working for what them call the political establishment. Yes. So we must never forget them things, or we must research them things, and don't let anybody tell you say it's a long time. Because once you do that and you become dismissive, we're not going forward. What we're doing is remaining the same. It's remaining the same. We're always going to be consumers. We're always going to be servitude slaves. That's it. We'll never become what you call independence. We will die. And that will never happen. We'll never experience anything. And we will never really commemorate our ancestors. We'll just be talking again about it. And lo and behold, you have another set of people that says never, never again. And they were moved and put in our space. In our space. And then victimize another set of people that belong there also. And the world is still not at peace. You understand? So when we look at ourselves, we're not the one that create problems. And we looking at ourselves is not we in the diaspora, because we're trying to know ourselves. We're talking about we at home. Because when you understand what happens there, in terms of what happens here with us as people in the diaspora and this independence and this Caribbean and this North America, we're in a bad place. We don't even have the mental capacity to link with our brothers and sisters like Admiral Wally did, to say, here, what happened? The pain that we're feeling here is too much. We want to come home. And vice versa, they're saying the same thing. So we have hundreds, thousands of servitude slaves on the continent. So when you look at our situation, it's so bleak. But mentally, I wouldn't like to die crazy, seriously. And that craziness means that I accept being a servitude slave until the day I die. That's why Al-Islam, in another instance, is superior for me and many of us. Because our souls, spiritually, we're free. You understand? Systematically and so forth, you understand? We're not. But spiritually, yeah. And we feel that. We don't just start that. That's why our homes are established. Are established in the way of the Prophet and the way of the Quran. Our homes. Not our vocabulary. No, not our communication skills, not our lingua. We govern ourselves that way. Anyway, Christianity. What is this thing here that some people want to see the African, this is Africans and this and that and the other. The word Christian And the word Christ, the anointed one, or the appointed one. But these words are Greek, not African, Greek. You see? And the Greek, a lot of Greek is in this book here we call the Bible. And a lot of Greek meanings and translations and explanations, or quotations, are from the Greek in this book. That's why some of our historians, them say that it is from Kemet. I think what they really should say is that they think that some of the form that the Greeks used to add to that which they had as the paganistic material that they had, and they added it to and bring forth what we generally call the Bible. But what they want to try and say, because they understand, they gain to understand that many Greeks were allowed into Kemet and were allowed learning there. They came there specifically to go to school, if you like, or college, if you like, but to learn. And they were accepted. And many of them were accepted even in the priesthood to learn from that. Not become one of them, but become a student of. And they were informed and taught. So maybe that's why they said these things. You see? So you can see this thing, you know, and at Antioch, again, Greece, where the decision among many people to give this movement that them understand that Christ had, and to be a testimony to him. But did they want to listen to Barabbas? Did they want to listen to the one we call James and Barnabas? You understand? They didn't. These were meant to be apostates. So this is where the Paul come into this thing. Because if they could have caught those, they would have slayed them, they would have crucified them. Because that was his mission, his purpose for Rome, was to find these followers of Christ, annihilate them. Because those followers did not fear Rome. And Rome couldn't understand and find out what it is that make them so strong. You want to read more, you know? So, at Antioch, them take this anointed one and Christos and form Christians. It's later in the day, later in the years that you hear the word Christianity. But them fathom the thing to be called Christians. First at Antioch. Every lay person knows that. A training minister, preach, pastor. He don't even reach pastor yet. Him know that. He was taught that. And many of the literature that him have, that he's been exposed to, explain that. Because you have to know the history, that slight history, to be able to counter those ones who want to oppose you. And that it doesn't mean Muslims and so on. Different branches of that evolution. Now let's run all the way down into Palestine now to see what was going on there and how these people get in there now. Now, they want to tell you that Christianity originated in Palestine. No. Because I can show you said that is Greek. And a number of them stayed in Antioch and give birth to the two names. The anointed one, them called Christ, and then them put another word with it called Christians. Huh? And that meant to be the followers of Christ before it evolved and become Christianity. Huh? Christians. See? Yes. Meaning ones who follow Christ. And we Muslims come along now and say, okay, that's cool. Where is his book? Where's the Injil of Isa? But we'll get back to that. So now they want to tell you again that Christianity originated in the country of Palestine. Now, what this is when they're entered into these regions, because them get for ear and their voyages and so forth, because they want to conformity into that which them have now mobilized. Then want to say that these people, listen, them kill the people them first. Then war them. They never go there like a peaceful let of people trying to say, well, we'll harmonize yourself with our fellow human beings. No. Then when they were military force. But today they want to tell our children, which they've told us already, that these people were barbarics. They were heathens. The people of Palestine, the people of Jerusalem. But yet still they wanted to conquer Jerusalem. Why is that? Because you see, in this part of the world and in Africa is where all the events in relation to this religion, these prophets and so forth, all these things evolve, happen, right? This is the origin. This is where things happened. You understand? This is where things happen. Then these things not happen in Europe. This is where things happen. And this is what these people did. And you can go and read a whole heap of books and they will tell you the same thing, you know. Them talk about the Greeks and so forth, and then they want to tell you say that in Palestine such and such. And the place wasn't called Palestine then anyway. So when you're looking at how them mix up things, it's amazing, but you have some patience. And we should be training our children now from 16, 17 to be doing this research, looking at these things, because it takes years and you have to be able to have comparative overview. And then have a translator. Because the Germans have so much. They have so much. And then the Portuguese, them have vast amount. And then the French. Now what we have to ask ourselves, are these things in good condition or they have got rid of? Because through not having them translated, but grabbing them in the first instance, it was like we have salvaged something. And then little more, them just decide to think that, well, we've got mountains and mountains of these things, and them just left them there, some rotted, and got soil, And some of them just disregarded, like the Moguls. The Moguls burned down enough things. And in the last 15 years, we are fighting after the French. Because them get for understand through their little spies that we've uncovered so many scrolls, so many books, so much parchments. So just to run our thorax out to the region, them shout and scream and said that they were Al-Qaeda in the precinct. I'm going to come to that because we can't understand how comes now Africa is the seed of terrorists, war and terror. I mean, we had nothing to do with these things. But that's all the reason why Barack Obama did leave many bases on the continent. And we, some of us as idiots, we were saying hip hip hooray that the man is gone home. And he did not piss upon him fathers and him grandparents them at all. You know, sometimes good, you know, you can't help feeling, but you know what happened? We have to really look and listen before we jump for joy. Say hip hip hooray. We have to stop. As I said earlier, we need to have a good look at Cuba. Good look at Cuba. The Cubans have learnt to live within their means. And no matter how America sneezed or fought, they were able to withstand it. And what did they do? Because these people are always trying to create all kinds of disease on them. They went straight in to medicine, deep, and chemistry, science. And learned it well. And went out all around the world. Sent their people out to learn. And that's us. And we didn't flew the coop and run away. And go to America and shout and scream and stay there in Florida. No. Them went around the world and learned that the world turned around and said them have the best medical resources and facility in the world. Now this is little Cuba. But the importance of looking at Cuba and examining Cuba, as far as I'm concerned, is that our people accept to live within their means. That which God give them on that land, them learn how to utilize it. And they've been grateful for the soil. And all the material them, the resources them that them can get out of that soil. Yeah. Contentment is a serious thing. Now you look forward now on the continent that has mass resources that we never utilized ourselves properly. And then let some thieving strangers come and put us in modern day slavery. This time just come home, have the people them in the palm of them hand, and do what they want and what they will with them, and extract from the land the materials that they want, and create an imbalance in the ecosystem of the continent. Yes, the plagues them that we suffer, the famines that we suffer, we not do them. America and Canada and England do them. Them just raid the land, brutalize the soil for multitude of profit. From sugar to flowers, you know. And you remember, we're expendable. So they didn't care a damn about us. So them just move we on, and then them use us to show the rest of the world that we're in gross poverty. And then here comes them waving a white flag and pretending that they're humane and saying they set up these things called charities. And then wait 3 or 4 times a year. The Easter, the Christmas, with the other two. And just beg people for money for the children them in Africa. The animals, the dogs of Europe and the cats, but the people, the children, the poor, destitute children and women, them want to raise, and them have red nose and all these things. So they've kept us in poverty. But at the same time, it's not we are in poverty. Them raid the land, remove the people them, and all of this have an impact on one's social life. And the region that people live within cannot be developed because them take it to create them land produce, whatever it is that they want. And if we're farmers, which is generally the case, we lose. So, Africa, serious thing. So this Christian thing, I'm telling you, is the Greek, is Antioch, is not Palestine, right? So all this is myth, and it's not Ethiopia either, right? So if we want to go there and see some things that resemble that thing that they've been playing around with in a church over here or wherever, and that's deemed to be Christianity. When you see something that's similar, don't put that name on it. Find out from the people. What are you? I mean, what do you all call yourselves? What's your faith? Not just your belief. What is it that you have? What do you read? And that's the right research. Don't just rumble out and then come back and turn around and tell people them something. No. No. That's why a lot of people don't know nothing about the line of Judah. And we should. We should. We should have. And the king that we should be bowing to is Menelik. That seed. And keep the dynasty of Sheba and Solomon and David alive. But we haven't done that. And now here comes some Johnny come lately, backed by whoever we don't know, shouting and screaming that they're Hebrews, they're Israelites, blah, blah, blah. And they're not wrong. Right? It's just the way that they're approaching it. That's what we're saying. It's just the way they're approaching it. You understand? And because of that, and then they don't want to call them Steve. Who told them that they were not Africans? Why do they say that so strong? See? That's a big question, you know. Why do these brothers them say that they're Hebrew, but then and tell you straight away, you look upon them and say, black people, them tell you straight away, we're not Africans. And they have to join with another group of people, Hispanics and so forth, to also clarify and justify themselves. Now, we're not going down Dr. York or anybody's mysticism and mysteries. The line of Judah was crowned. That kingdom, that kingship existed. Nobody never just put that there in 1933. No. This goes way back. This is the original origin. And we look upon Melchizedek. We now look upon some guy called Paul and some people them in Rome and some people them in Greece. No. No. So if some of you decide to come off your horse and just decide to have a good look and examine and have a good look at Al-Islam and just don't keep turning your face round and say, well, nah. You learn a lot and you get to appreciate a lot and you know that the scribes look just like us. The scribes. So now we have this, just for them to put this thing together now, we have in the Bible, Acts. You see, I left one with Acts some weeks and weeks ago, about a month back. And I come back again at Acts, right? So you got Acts 11, and you see that, oh, they want to wrap this thing up now to make you follow this thing. Them say, and when he found him, he brought him, who's this they're talking about, to Antioch. So for a whole year, Barnabas, right, and Saul met and taught a greater number of people and disciples to call the people them Christians. See? Now, when you read this in the Bible, depending on which version, it's the same, but it has a different twist to it than the one I just read. So here how that one goes, you know what I mean? Right? Because these are events, right? So they wanted the people them to come to this realization and use this word. This is why this Inquisition came about also, because some people refuse, you know. But just to streamline this thing, hey, Star, them bun people, stretch people, them some evilest, wickedest thing to make everybody conform. A whole conformity took place here, you know. Some dangerous things to bring this whole thing about. And then want to tell us that it's by inspiration. But if you really study them, you see that it's not but it's inspiration for those people. Them inspire them one another. And they also had to please Constantine. Oh gosh, man, so much people. And then they want to tell you that the disciples of Christ found themselves in Greece. Now, no one knew who they were. They were trying to find them, capture them, Rome. So if them identify me as one of him followers, then they will torture me to be able to get to Christ. If people start understanding, you know, that these people were like the Magnificent Seven, the Magnificent 12, 13, always fleeing from place to place. And Christ, Isa, was always on the run from this authority. Simple. But if you don't, you wasn't supposed to see that. And if you, when you see that now, you decide to ignore that because you're done told now this thing about, and you get to your emotion and they say, well, you know, our Lord and Savior, he died for our lives to give us everlasting life. And it sounds good. But then no one asks, what do I have to do to gain everlasting life? And then they say, just believe. And believe what? Believe that the witnesses, the alleged witnesses said that he was nailed to a cross, he was crucified, he died, he wasn't buried, he was put in a tomb, or he's put somewhere that we never know about this thing. We don't understand why they didn't bury him. And then I tell you that there's this James, you know, a wealthy man that asked the governor for him. And then they buried him in a costume that wasn't known to the people. And we are saying to you that what happened there is that Christ's teaching, his manuscripts, was locked away. Nothing to do with the living, the mortal body, the mortal human being. No. Allah didn't allow them to harm Isa, Christ. But then come up with this fictitious thing and put that out there. But still trying to find the disciples. So since that was becoming unsuccessful, and Paul was one of those same people, them decided the best thing to do now is to relax. And create a wicked scam. And that's where Paul's come up with this thing that he was walking in Syria. And Christ, that he never met, he didn't know Christ. But him I tell you, say that Christ asked him, why dost thou kick thyself against the thorns? And from that day, he became the leader for Christ. So everything him say is from Christ. Somehow, Christ is now anointed him and Christ is speaking through him. And that's the fallacy that them gave to the world. So when you read anyone read what is allegedly supposed to be the New Testament, you see someone talking to someone, and they're trying to, sometimes they're saying that Christ did say this and that, and this one questioned this and that one questioned that. And the whole jigmarole is Paul trying to understand things, and then he gives his take on things. Or somebody that I could say I allege to feel that is Paul that is involved. And if you get the red letter book, you see that that's supposed to indicate when Christ was present or was speaking. And you say to yourself, wow, 30 years? Is that all? But when you do that now, some people get nervous even though they can see it for themselves. And before you finish, them call you an apostate. Now, in the last 2 months, some archaeologists has dug up that found some remnants of peoples, or bodies in Al-Quds, in Palestine, in Jerusalem, in Palestine area, in Palestine. And this is not the first, with some large human beings. There's no misrepresentation to say, well, these were some animals. You know what I mean? It's some human beings. Huge. And if the Egyptian government, along with the Arabian government and the Persians, were to do the same, maybe the world would change, or would have changed, because there's so much skeletons, human remains, giants, and in Syria, you want to see the size of some slippers and the headwear of people, of some Sahabis. Huge. So at some stage in our lives, there are people from different provinces, different regions, were huge. Just like if you go to Africa, you see some Mandingo, you see some people, huge. May I tell you? So there's a great deal that we don't know, and we should know. And the only way we would have known, and we can know, is if we go home. But then again, there's so much pillaging and raping of so much from the continent. And that's why these people were so eager to tell us in school that Africans did not write. They had oral history. Now, how is it that them can tell? How is it that them can record or have recording of African provinces? And we've never been that intellectual to question them and ask them that. So now we've come of age and we can do that. We're talking about a gap of 70-something years. So it doesn't measure up, you understand? And it come like all we're doing is splitting hairs. So the only thing left for us to really actually do was to go home. Now look what Barack have done, along with him Bush friend. Them created all kind of thing with these mercenaries and call them all kind of name, and now put Africa on the map, or put Africa within these things that them created. And the Bush said is war on terror. And the countries that them call the acts of evil. And Africa is in there. It's only that this man, him come and he's made sure that he make people to understand that he's maintaining that stance. And the British, them brothers, have passed on a lot of the range that they've had with Arabia and others to America. So when you think that they mash up Baghdad, go back to the beginning when the invasion of Baghdad is. All the libraries, all the historical places and institutions, the American and British raid them first. And then this Abu Ghraib, the Americans and others, sodomize the people them. And you're talking about a Muslim nation. You see? And with Syria, them do the same thing. They have done the same thing in Syria. Do you understand? The last place that them went and they mash up, and them try to say that others are doing the mash up, is Aleppo. Aleppo is an educational province. Aleppo. You understand? And I don't hear the Saudis them screaming or saying anything, because Bilal, rather than when you come into Syria now, all that he have done there and his janaza must be all mash up and blow up and mash down. And the same thing they did in Jerusalem. It's just that the people them that they put there continue all these years trying to dig and flatten Al-Quds, our mosque. And we're not talking about the Dome of the Rock. We're talking about a mosque in central Jerusalem called Al-Quds. That's the one that fascinates the world. And that's the one that the prophet ascended into to the seventh heaven and came back. And that's where Moses, Solomon, David, Christ descended and was led in prayer by the prophet in Al-Quds. Serious thing. So when I'm back where with this Christian thing and try to find out how you can become followers of Christ properly. But first of all, you got to find out what is it that Christ did? And who is Christ? You understand? You have to find that out. Now you can listen to Peter. 1 Peter 4:16. However, if you suffer, now this is really entrapping the people to follow this new thing, you know. However, if you suffer as a Christian, as a Christian, do not be ashamed, but praise God that you may bear that name. 1 Peter 4:16. However, if you suffer, remember earlier on I told you now, this Inquisition thing, this thing about tormenting people and to just have conformity, that them have one thing and everybody have followed this one thing, no strays, was important to them. And them justify this by saying that they're inspired to do this. They're not working with with the books of Moses. Because that's the law. You have to be obedient to the law that was given. And Christ didn't come to change the law and come to fulfill it, show the evolution of people and time, that they should not stray away from the law. They must adhere to the law. And those who were adults and listening to this young boy, they were astonished because them say, how could he know Moses or Abraham? Look at him. Are we meant to listen to you? So when he quote what they should have had and did have in their possession, but they hid it, they kept it hidden, they were astonished. So many of them felt got at. Who's them? That's us. And that's what black people fail to come to terms with, because we all want to be this goody two-shoes, and at the same time, we want to be the Israelites. But we don't want to be the ones that done bad. And it's not 1, 2, it was the children of Jacob. And the generations, not just 12, the generations, because they've had families. Remember the 40 days in the wilderness, you think there's only 12 people out there? Stop this kind of thinking, man. And he continued to ask, why aren't you following the law? So if any of you read, which you do, you see that that was the contest, what he contested with the people who were meant to be the leading bodies. And that which they were using the temples for. Everybody gets hyped with that because it meant that he got rid of the tax collector and everything. But there were discussions that took place concerning the law, why you're not adhering to the law. People dismiss that and just go to the exchange of money, the fact that he turned the tables over and so forth. Yeah, the drama. Stay with the subtlety, stay with the whole thing so you can understand his mission, his purpose, what he was trying to portray. And he wasn't to change anything but to fulfill it, so it was meant to be used But nah, them tell us that, nah, we have graduated ourselves, so we don't have nothing to do with the Old Testament again. We are dealing with the New Testament. And the New Testament is this guy called Paul. It has nothing to do with Christ. It's just somebody taught this and taught that, and so forth, right? And this thing about Damascus. Now, someone should ask, where was Paul? Where was he residing before him went to Damascus? And why was he in Damascus? And what was Damascus, Syria, all about? Because, you know, you go up the road, you know, from Al-Quds. Trust me. Up the road. Down the road, up the road, round the road. Same precinct. But a long way from Kemet. A long way from Kemet. A long journey from Kemet. And we are the people, them, that all of this going back and forth conversation is with. Now, how did it get into Greek? How does it get into Latin? And how did it get into English? And there's no translation, there's no prints of Swahili, Amrit, or Hebrew in these European people, them books. So they've removed us, and we have also removed ourselves. And we also don't ask ourselves, wait a minute, did God forsake us like that? Did God just, he didn't want to know us? What happened? Nah. Then you come and then grab something out of the Old Testament now and throw in our faces in Sunday school and so on, and just tell about Ham, Shem, and Japheth. This is not in Christ's teaching. It's not. There's no Noah and so forth in Christ's teaching. Christ is the last. Did you not know that? So, where, you know what I mean, we have to look at the thing properly. And then we're kind of like, we're all right with the fact that we're cursed people. That justifies why we don't do nothing about the fact that the people them keep giving us a history just from them point of view, which is from slavery. Them love the fact that they've enslaved us. They don't want to apologize for it. They don't want to repatriate us as well. You understand? They don't want to give us back, tell us our names or even where they actually took us from. So you see, because they've put it in the way they've put it, they've said, well, watch it, we're not going to unlock that. We did it for a purpose and we got our rewards. How the hell is these children, who the hell do they think they are? That's how they're talking. And all I'm saying, myself at this time of age in my life is saying, all right then, since that be the case, we just need to dismiss them. From what? Our psyche. From what? From our understanding. You understand? And connect ourselves home. Not the Caribbean, home. Now for people who leave the Soviet Union, I spent 73 years trying to claim and continuing to claim that them belong in a place that them never ever been. Has nothing to do with nothing, them lying, right? But they've done it. It's just like the thieves and robbers that the British put down there, and the place that them call Australia, them populate the place, kill out everybody that was down there, hunt them down and everything, and them have this place that them call Australia. And we are amazed by this crookery, this barbaric brutality, murdering and pillaging, and then we listen to them and say that we're praising the Lord. Nah, we're mad. We're mad. And then I beg we for continue to listen to them, you know. But we're hook, line, and sink with it. We're mad. And God is looking at us and say, look at these people. First, he said that me forsake you, no? Second, when I turn around and say that me curse you, no? And the pigmentation that you got, you're accepting it. It's a curse. You're not saying that the Almighty I give you that, but everybody else have got theirs, but yours is a curse. We are so stupid. We have lapped all of that up. And if you've never seen it like that, sit back and ask yourself, you've got this story of Ham, Shem, and Japheth, and black skin is meant to be a curse. And who told us this? Caucasian told us this nonsense. And every time somebody want to talk about we, them always talk about we from slavery. So our existence evolved from slavery. And then our existence of color, our pigmentation, came from a curse. Not a blessing, a curse. So if it's come from a curse, how is it that we follow these people, we're cursed people, we pray to God and follow them with praying to God and looking for salvation, looking for comfort and so forth, but yet still we're cursed people? Shouldn't we be seeking salvation and ask God to remove this curse from us? So we can be a free people, a God-fearing people, and a people that God loves? How does this happen? We don't work like that. We are sit there with all these pastors and go through all this what you call the thing? This, not exorcism, this orgasm, and tickle with fancy and feel good about it. And I sure we don't. But we need to make the people them that we feel good with, make them feel that we do feel good. You know how much of our people have died? And we all will die. Do you know how much of us have died? Do you know how much of us suffer? Wrong information, no information, no proper information, no truthful information. So here Peter again. Peter said to you, but if you suffer as a Christian, do not be ashamed, but praise God that you bear that name. That's a doctrine to say this is what you got to be. So if things get rough and tough and hard for you, don't be ashamed of it. Don't bother to go back to wherever you was before. Follow the thing that we want you to deal with. But they're not saying it like that, because this is how, coming out of Latin to English, this is how it had to go. Who is saying that? We who have come of age. It took us 76 years to get to this understanding, because the people then that was before us would not respond in kind. Them love to be subservient. Them love to be slaves. And them see the Caucasian as the master. And they don't see themselves even correcting the master or questioning the master. But they will question God. They will question God, but not the master. Because in them vision, God is the master. Because the master already had a portrait showing that color exemplify God. And more importantly, God became a man, becoming Christ. In Christ. Only when he was captured and crucified, allegedly, then he becomes a God. When he was not captured, he was a man that they was trying to get after. You got to understand how to read. Seriously. Got to understand how to read. If we don't understand that, we're going to be damn fools all of our lives and everything. And then we're going to bring up a next generation the same way. The same way. If any man suffers as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God on this behalf. As I, Peter, now we're going Peter 4, 1 Peter 4 and 19. Wherefore let them that suffer according to and the will of God, commit and keep their souls to him. Keeping of their souls to him is well done. Huh? And be faithful to the Creator. So they're not elaborating on who this, right? But them say God and the Creator. Okay. That dismisses any sign of this Jesus being this God and this Creator, you know. Because here it is to inject this word that they need to be sanctified, to be used, and Christians. Right? And it is also said that Peter was the rock and him supposed to build the church. Christ is teaching on the rock. But no, they was meant to go out. They were supposed to go out and preach the word to those who were denied, so that them can live according to the law. But those who opposed Christ did not want that. They want to do things their way. And that's why we need to always keep going back to Kemet. If you don't go back to Kemet and see what happened in Kemet, and don't keep running up your mouth about the slavery thing and these wicked people, which is black people again, and black people are taught to black people, and the whole thing is black people having an issue with ourselves. Not one set of black people somehow become cursed, or some people become cursed and become black, and then we were slaves building these pyramids, and then we didn't do nothing good after that. We didn't do nothing good after that. And then we just disappear. Because the legacy of Paul dies, and we just disappear. So everything goes back to being the capturing, the trial, the weight, Pontius Pilate washing his hands, and this person being taken to this place, and then this person being crucified, and so forth. And it revolves there. It doesn't go into Moses, it doesn't go into the law, it doesn't go into the teaching, nothing. It stays right there. And that's been amplified through the world all these decades. And nobody has the courage, because of the Inquisition, to say something is wrong. Why am I not living according to the law and the testament that was given to Moses and was bear witness by Christ? Them afraid. And that's why Islam have to be made to look nasty, because Islam bears these testaments. Islam bears these witnesses. Islam bears that lifestyle. Islam bears that culture. Islam bears that morality. Islam does not allow any changes to take place. And I'm saying Islam and I say Muslim. Nah. You understand? And that's why we're looked upon to vilify, and then they want to shout out terrorists and Bin Laden. The truth be told, Bin Laden and George Bush Sr. and them father, his father and them had business. And then them finish up in a feud, because Bin Laden, just like Kobe Bryant, Bin Laden's father and this other family's father, his other sibling's father and the wife of Bin Laden Sr. feel bad because the helicopter crashed in Texas with him father. And them had Bin Laden, one of the sons, and the Bush family had a feud from that time. And them just vilify him. And vilify him. And him went for help. He was helping the Mujahideen, because his father a rich man. Helping the Mujahideen the defense against Russia. Because Russia invaded many a time. I try beat up the Afghans. This is knowledge. This is history. This is truthful thing. This is not defending Muslims or nothing, sir. This is, oh, damn. You understand? And just because them use a word to vilify Al-Qaeda, nobody don't know outside that don't speak Arabic, don't understand what the hell you're talking about. And then it become the major thing. And then this man come, Barack, and then drop it in Africa to say that Al-Qaeda now is in Africa. And them set up bases in Africa. And ill-treating the our continent again. Wicked people. So pastors, if you're vexed, come show me now that I don't have this one right. Come show me now that I got Peter wrong. Or what I'm reading of Peter is wrong. Is not in the right context. However, if you suffer as a Christian, do not be ashamed, but praise God that ye bear that name. Okay. What's the next one? Ye, if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God on this behalf. 1 Peter 4:19. Wherefore let them that suffer according to the will of God committed that keeping of their own souls, to him and well-being, as unto the fearful Creator, not unto the fearful Christ, the Creator. So right there and then, this writing of Peter, through them want hook, line, and sink you to follow this new word that them put in there, calling the people them, instead of followers of Christ, right? They want to call them Christians. So now, the word you're talking about, what they're amplifying, is God. Them not say Christ, you know. Them say God, and then them say Creator. See? So, you're now supposed to stand up in the church and say, but I thought you've been saying that our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is in the personality of God Almighty. Said, no, my son, please read what is in front of you. What did Peter say? He said, what Peter is saying is that Christ is a man, because he's not talking about Christ. He's talking about us being Christians, worshiping God, and be faithful to the Creator, God. They oust you as an apostate. And all you're doing is saying, this is what is written here. You're not being argumentative, you know. You just say, this is what is written here. Please clarify. Yeah, joke. You understand? These are the things, man. So, we want to go back to the ganja now, quickly, and gone. You see, me did leave this one here for Thursday, right? Yeah, and I'm gonna say it now, you know. Let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God on this behalf. For the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of God. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of God? That obey not the gospel of God. See? Because Christ came with, Isa alayhi salam came with the gospel, the Injil, from God. And not him. And the Injil is the law and how to use that law as Moses gave the law to the generations before, and he's stopping the slippage and the denial to say that they're now matured so they don't need to do this, put it down and move on. No. See, this is the thing. And that's why I'm saying that the people, them have a problem with Muslims, because we keep referring back to that law. Any discussion that Muslims have with Christians is always, do you adhere to the law? And we have a law called Sharia, but it's the Quran as a whole. You see? And the Torah is the law as a whole. And Moses, going out to the wilderness for 40 years, was to cleanse the people them from them falsified views, the different things them picked up in Kemet, the different things them pick up from different tribes of people, from different movements that they've had throughout them life and won't be obedient. See? And in Kemet, the people then was following God. Let that be understood also. How you think we get so great? You think it's musicians? Nah. It's the changing. We change. We become arrogant and full of ourselves. I say that we've outgrown it now. Listen to Moses' confrontational communication with Pharaoh. Listen to it carefully. Don't go to the drama. See, that takes you away from how the thing, what type of relationship, how them converse and so forth, and what was actually happening. You go for the hype. And that's how the people that write the thing, not how it's written, that's how the pastor them teach it, them explain it. You read it and you see there's a relationship, and you see that Moses is trying to bring them back to an understanding, because that's what God tell him. Give the explanation to Ramses and let him refrain from the ways to which he's now adopting. And we're not talking about a week, 7 days. The thing, movies is like, what? There's a long period. And he had tolerance. He couldn't have any other because God chose him. And where he had slippage, his brother Aaron was there to help him. What was the slippage? Moses stammered. When he got nervous, that's how he spoke. When you get frightened, when you get nervous, when you get overpassioned. So we take the hype and think, say that this, no, you have to go back to the thing and see that the pharaohs, the Egyptians were followers of God. Then them start change and start put things inside and some of them. That's why Akhenaten left and go up to what we call Sudan today and establish a community and uphold monotheism that was always here. It never give birth to something new. And all these people are Africans along the Nile. Yeah, joke, man. We have to come off of that thing and try to understand, really and truly understand. So, go here. Yeah. Listen, man. I try to make things as clear. It's not a bash Muslim in a ring versus the Bible, the Quran in the ring versus the Bible. No, that's not it. You understand? Because the most upright person that follow Christ and Moses is a Muslim. All of us are Muslims. What's Muslim? We have to rely on God. That's what it is. We have to rely on God. You understand? Him sustain us. None of us are independent of anything in this life. We need to be cherished, we need to be sustained. Life is what is lent to us by the Almighty. That's it. Don't get nothing twisted and confused.
Afternoon, sir.
Yeah, listen, look.
Are these your documents?
Yes, sir.
Did you fill these out yourself?
Yeah, I wrote them.
So you wrote this?
Yes.
You're saying you wrote this?
That doesn't matter.
Tell me, what's your religion?
What?
Why you gotta wear your hair all them tied up?
What a tired?
Why you gotta look like this? You ain't got nothing to say, huh? So you wrote this?
Yes, I.
But we don't have to verify these documents.
Who you want to mention?
But I never will fall, Lord, cause the longest live every day. You try to make your power show, for the longest live every day, Lord. Discriminating and you think I don't know, the longest live every day, Lord, Lord. And you reap what you sow.
wonder if it is because I am Rasta man. Why? Every day me have to face bad energies in a Babylon disaster plan. They always accuse I, criticize my identity. Them see the evidence prove right, still they try to condemn me. One look at my eyes, they use their thoughts and brutalize me. Do they know that who I am? The moment they hear my voice, they criticize me.
Oh, you getting boisterous, sir?
Yo, easy, man. We are going to easy, man. I have to talk for my rights. I have to defend myself. No, but I am not over yourself. Verify our documents and the Selassie son. Legal. No. But I never will bow, no. For the longest live I prevail. You try to make your power show. For the longest live I prevail, Lord. Discriminating and you think I don't know. The longest live I prevail, Lord. On the reap what you sow. For the longest live I prevail, Lord. Is it me just when I say man apart? Me complex and me look too dark. Because I don't speak how you talk. I through the signature, you know things in the smart. You see my turban, what you think that I'm too rough for? Is my eloquence just not good enough? Lord, sick and tired of it. It's painful, the way you treat her. It ain't good. Sick and tired of it. Now my cup is running over. Now my cup full. Judge me, but I never will bow. No, for the longest live I prevail. You try to make your power show. For the longest live I prevail. Lord, discriminating and you think I don't know. The longest live I prevail. Lord, on the reap what you sow. For the longest live I prevail.
Well, everything here seems to check out. Here's your darkness. You can get your bags on the outside. You don't miss your connecting flight, but you can work it out with the airline. You know, you boys, you always look the same to us. Sorry for the inconvenience.
You judge me, but I never will bow. Lord, for the longest live I prevail. You try to make your power.
You know, so we help this brother here make that move there, you know. You understand? We popularize the thing. Yeah, we see on news. Hey, too dramatic. The man, them instead of Early B.
What's the use in talking about love?
Bible story, guidance.
When it comes to man called Early B, with a thing called a Bible story, I happen to be the doctor of philosophy. Mercy, love, to you, one. Jamaica, heaven and earth in a only 6 days. Upon the 7th day, him go rest and pray. He make the animal for meat, the bird
guidance,
the green vegetable for we eat every day. He make the whole universe, them call it Milky Way. He make Adam and Eve, but them did not obey. Them have two, some me say them sin the same way. Cocky and kill Abel and them put him in a clay. So God call Noah immediately until him figure that all of him family. Then him take one flood, wash the wicked away. Old Papa Jacob a 12 boy picking it. Joseph get a coat pretty like jewelry, but him brother them sell him just through jealousy. Say Moses was born in a poor man city. Them hide him in the river from Pharaoh's army, but him free the Israelite from captivity. David killed Goliath, gave Saul a victory, and then became king at the age of 30. Solomon gave Queen of Sheba all of him jewelry. So check Early B with Bible story. Then put Daniel along in the the lion chamber. Through the powers of God, them couldn't hurt him structure. Say Jesus Christ born in a manger. Joseph his father, Mary his mother. Them sell Jesus for a bag of silver. Them put him on the cross, him raised 3 days after. Peter cut off a man ears with a razor. The cockroach tries him deny the savior. Say this DJ must be a church member. Me know Deuteronomy, me know Joshua. Me study Solomon, me know Isaiah. Me say me name early, me know me intelligent. Say anyway me go, me say me act decent. Say when it come to violence, me know me innocent. Well here are the books of the New Testament. It go Matthew, Mark, say Luke and John. Say Acts, Roman and Corinthian. You have Galatian, Ephesian and Philippian. Say Thessalonian and Thessalonian. Say Titus, Timothy and Philemon. You have Hebrew, James and Peter, 1 John. You know the last 2 are Jude and Revelation. Me say this DJ must be a Christian. A brain like mine's worth 10 million. So get this panty punk cassette, yeah man. A tune like this soon reach number 1. Me read Genesis unto Revelation. Come me is a youth, me have me ambition. Say me follow for me daddy and me follow for me mama. Cause I is a youth and me no do nothing wrong. Say Jamaica, say heaven and earth. And Jaja make the sea and a Jaja make the dirt. A Jaja make the fans and a Jaja make the skirt. Jamaica heaven and earth in a only 6 days. And on the 7th day him go rest and pray. He make the animal for meat, the bird them fillet, the green vegetable for we eat every day. He make the whole universe them call it Milky Way. He make Adam and Eve, but them did not obey. Them have 2 sons, me say them sin the same way. Cain kill Abel and him hide them in a clay. So God call Noah immediately until him figure that all of him family. Then him take 1 flood, wash the wicked away. Say Papa Jacob a 12 boy picking it. Joseph get
as we say, guidance. See? You see how that one they go down nice, innit? Yeah, guidance. Things and times.
No, sir!
A beer badness.